In this assignment, we have to start with the structure instead of with that we have the site, the surroundings, and the function of the building. Yes. We don't know anything about that. Yes. We only know that we have to start with a structure.
And then you have a context or not?
Yeah, we get the context later on.
Okay. So in that way, the structure will transform in such a way that the surroundings are put on the structure.
Okay, so you go from the structure to the outside envelope.
Yes. Yeah, and all the influences are translated in the structure.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, our first question is, in your opinion, to what extent does the structure of a building influence the impact on its surroundings?
Just the structure of the building?
Yes.
Well, it's a very generic question. But okay, normally architects now we design thinking the structure. I think my way of understanding architecture is more, we have to understand volume, structure, scheme as a single component. So of course, in my opinion, it's more a kind of single thing. So in my opinion, it's really difficult to divide the structure of building. But it's depending on the way you understand architecture. Some architects in other contexts, they understand, like engineers, they calculate the structure. They were more responsible for one part, and architects are responsible for other parts. Well, my conception and my education is like everything is one thing. So when I design a building, I design the structure at the same time.
So you also design the structure together with program and context and
Yes.
everything. And if you were given an assignment to just design a structure without any context, how would you see that process?
Yeah, the problem is if you design a structure, I mean, normally it's done by engineers. If it is any context and no program, well, I will not do it. I'm not an engineer.
Okay.
Okay, the next question was, how is the autonomic abstract building influenced by its surroundings?
Mm-hmm. You mean buildings in terms of how is influenced by surroundings? You mean in general, or you mean in specific cases, or which context?
In general.
In my opinion.
If the building is just an abstract thing, if it doesn't have a specific function.
Mm-hmm. You mean we suppose this is a stopped element, how it's going to be influenced by so on. Well, the problem of how buildings are relating with the context, this is in our case, in my perception, is very delicate, of course, and it's depending on the context itself and what's the influence. So we used to play a lot with the context. Some architects are more neutral. They make some neutral architecture and they don't care too much, or they don't react too much to the context. We try to absorb what is around you in the context to create certain kind of dialogue with that. And that's creating an influence in the building. So, or in facades, or volumes, or materials, transparency, whatever. So for us, is of course, is depending on the context itself, we create a reaction. So we don't have any opinion. We are more specific designers.
Yeah, I saw on your website that you designed a few suburban living areas. Yes. for people, like bigger complexes.
Yes.
So how did you decide to what factors of the surroundings did make your decision, influence your decisions?
Yeah, I think it's probably what we try to understand is not really only the surroundings of the environment, it's more the social context. Mm-hmm. For example, in one project, the social problem was that in a small neighborhood in Netherlands, it's really difficult for young people or elderly people to get a house. So this is really something that is not purely architectonic. But when the client asks, okay, could you make a building in this context? I will say, well, what I think is interesting to do in this neighborhood is to create as much as possible a dense building where you can get as cheaper housing as possible, affordable for many different groups. In that way, these groups don't move. So this social problem is passing to an architectonical problem. So then, now it's part of the context, how to react to the context. So in the moment you make a building that is denser, it's very dense and very big, well, it's creating kind of effect in the surroundings. So in that case, for example, I will make an operation of mimesis with the surroundings in a way that I will try to reduce the visual scale of the building, to play with transparencies or some things that make the building not so visible for the citizen. So in that way, normally people around the village, they accept the building, and the building is integrated in the context, but at the same time, I'm solving a social problem that is now young people, they have affordable apartments. But if I work in a context that is totally like another project, totally flat area, where it's going to be supposed to be a housing development with pitch houses that some architect, they think is vernacular, is what should be done in this area, probably I have to do another different, I had a different idea. So I react to the context, making very abstract elements, very pure and very minimalistic, not talking at all with anything around that, and just trying to create certain kind of landmarks in the area, for example, we did in our project. So it's very much, in our opinion, it's a lot related with the social problem around the area, and also the urban structure or the surroundings. So you have to react to that. Yeah. So it's not, we don't have any fixed way of doing this.
But for example, with this housing development for the social, the social problematic area, well, do you think about the unbuilt area, the area around the buildings, which is more the public space? How do you?
Yeah. What we do is we are also urban planners and landscape architects and architects. So it's depending on each project is working different, but most of the projects we normally do the urban plan sometimes. Sometimes we develop the landscape architecture around the building. And when it's not allowed, because we are just architects, okay, we just take input of the landscape. And normally in Netherlands, it's really like the disciplines are mixed in the projects in a way that we have meetings all together. And my input, like architect, for example, I put my input to the landscape architect. If I'm a landscape architect, I talk with the architect or with the urban planner. So the three disciplines are interconnected. But most of the times what we do is really, for example, for one project that we were, our assignment was just to make architecture. We even tried to understand the public spaces around them. And even because, we have this intuition that we have to say something in the surroundings, the municipality finally gave a commission to study the whole area, for example. So because it's very peculiar, our office, we jump very quick from one side to the other. So we tend always to try to say something about the environment around the buildings.
And with your design of the building, do you also at the same time think about the space that you have to create at the outside? For example, if there has to be a place for the children to be, or how does this really, the necessity of this outside space, does it influence the development of the structure?
What normally our vision is like we don't even if you have a small plot or whatever very defined, we don't try to understand that the project should be fixed in this envelope. Now our vision is that we have to try to influence their surroundings. So each time you make an intervention, you create an impact in the area. Well, it's up to you or up to the people working with you. If you can make this influence even better, spreading part of the building or spreading some burn outside. For example, in one project that we won last year, a competition for a tower in Rotterdam, was a tower 100 meters high. And then one of the problems we found in that area was the lack of areas for children. In reality, the tower was designed for families. And the problem of families is normally they don't want to live in the center of Rotterdam because they prefer to live in a single-family house in the surroundings with more green areas. Okay, we try to make attractive areas for families to live in the center of the city because it's really important for the municipality right now. Well, what we did is towers where you have a lot of square meters for terraces that are private, open space for children, but also collective areas in the roof of one part of the building with a green roof, where could be a collective area. And then what we did is also to demolish a existing building in the public space just to make a public park for children. So the three steps, private, collective, and public, were connected in a way that the children can socialize inside the tower because it's really dense, but also children can socialize with other children. So finally, one concept, you're spreading outside of the plot. And that's, for us, it's always very interesting because just exposing this idea, finally, municipality are renovating, I think, to renovate the area, and we can create something that is going to be used for other buildings in the area. So for us, it's not really, we are not really fixed to the envelope of the building.
So in that way, the dense building, the structure was defined by the social context of the...
You mean the structure in terms of stability structure or the structure in general terms?
In general.
Yeah, I think when you work with a tower in this context, economy is fixing many, many parameters. So the important thing is, in these cases, is to get the maximum amount of apartments with better quality, with a more economical project. And then all these parameters are the most important ones. Of course, there are aesthetics, there are a lot of things, but we are talking about dense programs that they are based on repetition of levels, where the margin is really small. So when you design, that's why I said at the beginning, it's very important to design the structure for us, because you have to design the architecture with the structure together in order to get something really coherent in architecture. And of course, yeah, when you develop that, you have certain margin of flexibility. But that's the main thing. But in other projects, you have more surface probably, and then, well, you can create more. You have more opportunities of movement. But in a vertical element, 100 meters high, just small decisions like a 2 meters more core, or no efficient core, or just more balconies or less, you increase a lot the volume of the building, you increase the price, you increase the. There are a lot of parameters that are related.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.